Hello viewers, my name is Pew Pew Choo Choo, and as you can probably tell, today we will be starting our Let's Play of Medieval Total War II, the Britannia campaign. Excuse me. So, let's begin by first and foremost picking a faction. Now, we did have a vote. I kind of decided to play out on this simply because it was one of the only vanilla campaigns that really interested me. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like there was an AI mod for this, so we will just be playing the vanilla game. I mean, hey, I guess that's what's kind of right. So anyways, we have a choice between 5 different factions. I played around as England and Wales. Wales, they have some sort of acute lack of heavy infantry, and I really don't like that. However, they do make for a fun game. I thought about doing Scotland, but they weren't much of a challenge either. So I'm actually going to be doing Norway inside this campaign, simply because they start out with barely anything, and they are severely at risk from being pushed into the sea by Scotland. Just gonna skip through the cutscenes because they don't run very well on my computer, and they actually managed to lock my computer up for a second once. So, we start off over here with Castletown being our capital, and our objective for the day is to essentially take 35 regions, including London, Perth, Dublin, Canaran, and Castletown. So we're essentially supposed to take out every single one of the major factions as major capital, I believe. I actually think the English capital is over here. It's not by default London, so that might be different. Anyways, to this, when we start off the game, we have a few settlements up here and a few island settlements over here. Castletown is our capital. It's a rather generic name, but it should be fine. So our first priority is to just kind of check our finances, and as you can see, we are already inside the red. So every single one of these settlements generate us a fixed income. We're going to be obviously stepping up our game, preparing for war in a little bit, but first we need to look into the economic side of things. Most of our settlements produce less than 1,000, actually all of our settlements produce less than 1,000 gold, so we're going to have to do something about that.
My king.
First and foremost, I'm going to move the spy, which is essentially a recon unit to me, up here just so that we can see a little bit more into Scottish territory. And we're going to trade for some apparently very valuable Scottish wool, which will generate us 100 more gold pieces, which will be a little bit better. Secondly, I'm gonna keep all of my cash for now, simply because right now it's not really. It's rather hard for us to get money inside this campaign. Playing as some of the other factions like Scotland, England, and Wales, you start off with fairly powerful cities that give you a nice round sum of somewhere around 1,000 gold for each of them, and then both of those factions, or all 3 of those factions, have 3 settlements that can do that. So they are a little bit easier to play as. Starting off as the Norwegian faction, obviously we don't have many towns that can produce a lot of money, but for the early phase of the game here, we gain passive reinforcement from the AI. Okay, so it looks like we gained some traits for commanders. I'll talk a little bit more about those, but essentially on the second turn of the game, you gain reinforcements in the form of 2 fleets and the accompanying army over here. So we get a nice little bit of troops here, and I'm going to send them around the coast to the Isle of Islay, and we're going to capture this from rebels. Because we're permanently at war with rebels, it's pretty much like a guaranteed chance that we'll be able to take that place without causing any major things. Actually, it looks like the mission system inside the game, which will generate us various different goals, short-term goals to accomplish, has decided that the city of, or the castle of Skye is the major target thing. So we're going to seize your settlement. Personally, I'm more used to the new Total War games. In this one, apparently, you can actually build siege equipment on the fly, so we will be essentially just doing that. And I think I'll get 2 siege towers, and that's pretty much it. Actually, they cost a lot, so Yeah, 2 will be good.
Have them trapped, my
So as soon as those siege towers get completed in 1 turn, we'll siege the fortress and essentially take it over. One of the things about this game is that Scotland really likes to go to war with us, so we're actually going to... Oh, whoops, shouldn't have done that.
Yes, my lord.
Anyways, we're going to be actually getting our boat here to pick up our forces inside our capital of Castletown, which includes our prince, Prince Mangus over here, which is a fairly fine general. The stats in this game work, well, it works on a system of traits and retinue, and essentially these just affect the various different stats here. So he's a fairly good commander, fairly loyal because, well, obviously he's the heir to the throne, right? He has good management, pretty much decent chivalry, so he's all around pretty good, and he's going to be leading our forces. So yeah, Scotland usually starts off the campaign on a sudden attack on Erin. We will be actually fighting this battle because I found a neato way to actually win this battle.
Men, prepare to meet and defeat the enemy!
So yeah, I mainly picked the faction because it was like one of the harder campaigns, I would say, in this mod. Really like the Britannia setting, so that's kind of why we're going along with this. Okay, so the Scottish should probably deploy. Yeah, they will deploy their troops over here. They have a nice mix of spearmen, I believe, a lot of spearmen. Some of these peasant troops, they're essentially militia with axes, and some archers, I believe. Oh, no archers. Any archers? No archers, okay. Well, they're going to be attacking us from this direction. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my troops set up so that when the fighting begins, we're going to just flank our enemies and defeat them there. So we're essentially just going to be setting off a little choke point right here in the middle of this little road, and we're going to try to take the back route from here in to just kind of hit them from the rear while channeling them in is what we're going to be doing. So let's get our forces assembled for that. Yeah, so they'll hit our Viking raiders, and we'll be firing a few arrows at them with our archers, and everything should be going fine. Now, as Norway, we get some of these Viking raiders as one of our staple units. So these guys are fairly decent, fairly competent brawlers with their axes and shields. They'll hold up for a long time, but they definitely aren't the best type of infantry around. Overall, these are just good for our army, right? Fairly reliable units. And in fact, one of these can actually fight both of these spearmen units perfectly.
Only intervention by the Almighty Lord or a military genius can bring us victory from this debacle.
One of the things that I noticed inside this game is that the AI is a lot less reluctant to fight the enemy crowds than inside the newer games. Looks like the Scottish spearmen are charging right into our ranks, so we'll have a little better chance of butchering these guys. Yeah, we've lost about 50 people while they've lost a ton of people already. So the plan is pretty much just to break up this large group of spearmen, send them running, and then come through the back here, and that'll lead us right into the rear of the enemy's army. Hopefully our archers and our Viking raiders here will be able to hold off these militiamen for a long enough period of time to our reinforcements to arrive, which should be in a little bit. Yeah, you can see that these guys are really being butchered down. I'm surprised they're still pushing forward. Holy cow, they've essentially surrounded themselves.
Our men have slain the enemy general. Without him, his troops will lose their will to fight.
So obviously, if you kill off the enemy general, it does drop the enemy's morale by a little bit. The game doesn't tell you that, I don't believe. Unlike the newer ones, where the info panel on the screen's the little box here, it tells you a lot more in the newer games. But anyways, now that all of these guys are dead, we will be charging to their rear. Yeah, so these guys are shaken up. They are broken, so I don't believe they will rout, or they won't reform. They are essentially considered useless troops now. At least that's how it works in the newer games. So, yeah, we've essentially destroyed 2 of their squads already. Now, this will hopefully be the killing blow, so I'm going to speed up time for a little bit because this battle's pretty much decided. Our troops here are also holding up pretty well. They've only taken a few losses. If the enemy here really decided to push upon us, they probably would have.
The battle seems to be swinging. Look how our
And just like that.
It could have been us, slain and defeated.
Look at that,
on the
took out
field,
a
but
field
fortune has
twice
been
our
kind.
size. So yeah, I mean, attacking like those enemies in the flanks there were really, really effective. Anyways, we get a choice between releasing our prisoners or ransoming them or executing them. I always release them simply because it's just what I do. Okay, so now that is out of the way, things should be going a little bit faster. So the town over here is safe for the moment being. We're gonna fight a siege battle here. I didn't see this merchant, but since we have him, we're gonna send him to trade textiles to earn us a little bit more money. For the early game here, for about 5 to 10 more turns, all I'm going to be doing is essentially building ourselves up for a serious economy. Later on, we'll be able to start really rolling the enemy's forces, but for now, I have a feeling conserving our money, not upgrading our buildings, because we can actually buy a few upgrades like ballista makers, farms, and better roads for our troops. I have a feeling right now it'd be better just to kind of hold off for a little bit. So, since all of our troops are away on this boat, we might as well buy 1 or 2 units just to defend our capital for now. I'm gonna get some more Viking Raiders. So as you can see here, they cost 450 gold pieces, have an upkeep that is a every turn payment of 150 gold pieces. Decent attack, decent armor, and yeah. A little bit of a step up from them is the dismounted Huskarls, I think that's how you pronounce it. So these guys are essentially like your tier 1, your basic shock troopers for our Norwegian faction. I mean, they have a slightly better attack, slightly better defense. They also get a higher charge bonus, which is better. But the interesting thing about them is that they are effective against armor units, just looking at the abilities at a glance here, and they frighten enemy infantry, so they do give us a automatic morale bonus, essentially. I'm going to be hiring some Norse swordsmen simply because they're cheap, and they're relatively like they're generally speaking on the same level as the Viking Raiders, although I believe they're a little slower in moving, and they are another class of infantry, so they have some other stuff going on with them. Okay, well, as you can probably tell, I mean, throughout the course of the game, we've been getting these candidate for adoption events, and essentially that's just a way to bring in more generals, from what I could tell. Generally speaking, I don't use that. I'm just going to kind of ignore those messages for now. And, oh crap, we were supposed to siege Sky, but I guess we'll build a few more of these ladders, just for now.
We await your order to move in.
Anywho, we need to capture a few settlements right now to really balance that budget. So far we are in the green for now, which is good. Let's just go to Gaskello, Gaskello.
Honor, my king. But my king, I cannot travel there.
I'm kind of contemplating whether or not we should go for the town of Gaskello over here, which is relatively undefended, or the town of Dumfries over here, which has a few defenders, and how I can tell is simply by the dark shaded portion of the banner. If it's darker than the dark portion is how many troops you have, and the light portion is the amount of empty space. So I think every single army can have 20 unit squads. As you can see here, we have like 12, and yeah, that's kind of what that tells. So anyways, let's take Sky first here. So, Assault impossible. Cannot use siege towers alone to capture the settlement. Okay, well, we'll build a few battering rams as well. There'll only be 2 turns until the enemy surrenders, simply because the siege is essentially a blockade on land. So I think I'll actually just blockade that town. Over here, because we have these catapults, we should be able to just start the battle. We're going to be fighting in a city with a wooden palisade, so essentially a wooden wall. So these catapults should be just enough for us to take over this place. Because we have better command, our chances of winning is way better than the enemy's is, which doesn't. We can also do a night attack simply because our general is capable of doing one, and it looks like he actually gains 1 command by doing night attack, so we will. I'll talk a little bit more about the night command thing later on, because it does play into how those characters on the map do what's the word? How they are made, pretty much. Okay, so let's put our general's bodyguard, which is our general unit, at the rear. Let's get our Huskarls over here, which are essentially cavalry units, decent cavalry units, over here. Got our catapults to smash down the gate, and we have some more of these dismounted Huskarls. Like I said, these are decent shock troops, so we'll just put them right behind the catapults. I have some of these Sami axemen, which are essentially better shock troops. They have large axes, and they have a really good charge ability, so we'll put them behind them. Actually, we'll put them in the front. And we also have a few archers with some crossbow militia, and we'll put those in front of our lines. So let's begin. I'll get my archers to march right up to the walls and begin shooting at the enemy. And I'll get the catapults to fire a few bolts onto the gate as soon as they get into range, so then we can take that out. Our cavalry is probably just going to sit here for the remainder of the battle, simply because cavalry don't perform very well inside crowded spaces, obviously. They're pulling back to the... They are pulling back to the gate, so I guess we'll demolish the gate, and then just kind of fight them inside.
Our enemy's gates are down.
There we go. So yeah, we can use these catapults to just kind of demolish their gates, or actually demolish their walls. But I mean, at the moment, I think taking out their walls will be just enough. I'm gonna get our archers to light their bolts on fire, so that they'll do more damage, but they have reduced accuracy. And our guys will just be barraging them with archer bolts for now. What I think I'll do is that I'll get my dismounted Huskarls to just make a line right there. Our catapults, I'm just going to let them fire upon these guys and hope that they hit something. Actually, scratch that. We run the risk of hitting our own troops, so I think I'll turn them off. And we'll just let our archers whittle down the defenders for a little bit. Yeah, archers inside this game are really inaccurate inside this game compared to like the Shogun Total War 2. But they're just gonna fire off a few more barrages. I'll get them to concentrate actually on the heavier formed up troops over there. And this will just put a barrage of archers onto them, doing a ton of damage. And now that's that. Let's send in our semi-axemen, which are essentially shock troopers, into the fray. So charging inside this game, it's a little more clunkier, but I mean it works still. So let's just see how this goes. So they should go in. They should go into charge mode, or maybe not. Oh well.
Soldiers have proved their worth today. The enemy's walls belong to us now.
And the Highland rabble here and the militia here actually already round just on the sight of these guys. Maybe because they're being shot at with arrows. Maybe not. Anyways, we're just going to get them to drive the advance forward.
Very much in our favor.
And
steadfast, victory will be ours.
Yeah, the militia archers will keep on firing onto these. Oh, unless they route too. That's fine. We'll just charge these guys. Charge their main plaza over here. Yeah, unfortunately these Sami axemen, they don't seem to be very good at defending themselves against arrows, despite having a shield on them. So unfortunately those barrages of arrows are going to do quite a bit of damage onto us. Troopers are just going to slam right onto them, and a brawl will develop. Oh wow, troops are already just stuck back here. Most of the X-Men are busy just butchering their their rivals who have decided to flee from the rear. You know, I've always wondered, does your troops suffer like some sort of penalty when they start to butcher routed units when they run into each other? Because like in real life, I would assume that preoccupies the combatants over here, but I guess it might not inside the game. So yeah, a brawl developed there. Unfortunately, inside this version of the game, I mean, yeah, there's no real way to get more troops to fight. So instead of doing that, I'm just gonna get some cavalrymen to go from the rear. Because I recall inside the newer games, I mean, all of these troops will just try to clump forward to actually fight the enemy, but inside Medieval Total War 2, like, a lot of these guys like to stand in the back over here instead of being up on the front and fighting. In like Napoleon, I recall like everybody would be bunched up into like this little space right there where you have like a dozen guys in one place. So yeah, I guess we'll get our cavalry to go around, don't charge directly at them. And I'll just get these cavalry to come over here to the side.
Only half the enemy force remains.
That's good. How's the brawl looking over here? Well, we're definitely making progress, but like, because of the poor quality of the textures, I honestly can't tell how many people we've lost and how many people they've lost. It all kind of turns into this red mist of stuff. What I could do to speed up the battle here is actually, or rather get more troops on the front, is that I can issue a move order into their rear. But I'm pretty sure this doesn't actually, like, this isn't the equivalent of issuing a fight order. So if we have like really good shock troops, which are good at attacking, but don't have very good defensive skills, I think that actually causes them to use their defending skills, which obviously puts us at a disadvantage, right? Okay, I think now things will go a little faster on the frontage, but yeah, there's still that problem. Okay, well, let's get our horses assembled over here, and then we can charge them from the rear and hopefully take the city from the Scottish. There we go. And all they have to stand in our way is some Highland rabble, which are basic. They're one step up from peasants, so I'll give them that. And our cavalry should just come in here and start butchering them. I mean, these peasants, or Highland rabble, equivalent of peasants, shouldn't be able to do much. And I think it's time to speed up the game.
The grace of God. Our men have slain the enemy general. Without him, his troops will lose their will to fight.
Okay, so there we go. Now it looks like we'll be able to like successfully just butcher all of these guys.
Praise the saints! Our men have taken control of the city.
And this should be it.
This is a clear victory that goes to only men of great virtue and valor.
There we go. So that settlement is taken over. And that will be the end of that. Release all the prisoners, because people don't usually pay for them anyways, and because we release them, I think we get a benefit in terms of our getting our chivalry level up here. We're gonna just repair the palisade and continue on. So, a little bit about the trait system here. So, looking back at Prince Mangus over here, he has quite a few of these traits that affect his various different stats. So, some of these stats, such as like Heir Apparent, which is a +1 to command, and Aspiring Commander, which is a +2 command, are automatically added up to this. So yeah, that's kind of how these meters are derived from. Those simply come from these things. I believe there are a few other things like Budding the Bureaucrat here, which is just like gives you a few bonuses to like trade and stuff, just percentages and stuff. Although some of those traits are actually really cool, such as Night Fighter right here, which allows our people to fight inside the dark, and it actually gives us a +1 to command, but only when fighting in the dark. And some of the other ones come up like Siege Engineer, which I think gives you like +2 to command during a siege.
An order!
Speaking of the siege, this guy is doing kind of his own thing. He's going to take the settlement. We're actually going to sack Gelir Havas over here because he's actually not really loyal to us right now, and he's actually a dreaded commander, which is pretty much the exact opposite of chivalrous. And I think this actually gives us a morale bonus in terms of making the enemy afraid of our troops. So anyways, we're gonna take this group of troops, and actually no, we still had to wait one turn for those things to build.
To the walls! Our enemy has laid siege!
There we go. So what should have happened is that those things were built. Should have a few more troops here. The troop recruitment inside this game is different from the newer titles. Essentially, we have a reserve pool of troops here that we can essentially buy. So, for example, I can buy 5 peasant units right now, although I can't buy any more than that, simply because there's no more reserves there. And they'll come back over like 2 to 3 turns, depending on like how good the unit is. I'm just going to be stockpiling up Norse swordsmen because from the looks of it, they are the cheapest and most effective unit. They have more attack than the Viking Raiders. They're a little cheaper too, in terms of both what's it called, upkeep and the other thing. But it looks like they don't have good stamina or the bonus against armor. So I don't know. Maybe both units are fairly effective. I guess we'll be using a lot more Norse swordsmen when fighting the Scottish faction and the Irish, but we'll be using a lot more Viking Raiders and fighting the English. So let's start this battle. Yeah, the English, I believe, have a lot of like armored swordsmen and armored sergeants, and generally speaking, armored troops with the plate mail. So I guess swords won't work as well as them. Against the Irish and the Scottish, I believe, they have a lot of light infantry, so people wearing leather or no armor at all.
Your
right?
siege equipment is automatically attached to one of your infantry units. Units with siege equipment are marked with an icon representing the siege equipment they are manning on their unit card. If you wish to have troops drop the siege equipment, click on the Drop Siege Equipment icon.
Okay, yeah, you need to go over there. So, let's see, we have some siege towers here, which our units can use to climb up to the enemies' walls. Actually, oh wait, no, they do have ramparts. I was kind of thinking, if they had a wooden palisade, I kind of would have built these siege towers for nothing, because if they don't have the little place where people can stand, then obviously there's no real point in using them, right? That would have sucked. So anyways, just like last time, we're going to be deploying our archers in loose formation, shooting flaming bolts at the enemy first, so we'll get them right up to the front here. After that, let's get our siege equipment working, so our ramps going up, and our siege towers going to their walls. I'll get these guys to drop their ramp over here simply because we don't really need it anymore. Okay, so that'll start things up. I'll get my archers to run up. Our commander isn't going to be very much use inside this battle simply because he doesn't have a very high command skill. So he's useful in influencing our troops. I remember from the newer games that your commander has like a command radius in which he gives a bonus to our units' morale. The enemy here this time has either a lot of archer, yeah, they have some Highland archers here, and some more Highland units here, Highlanders over here. It's gonna take them a long time to actually set our siege equipment on fire with their flaming arrows, so I think we'll be fine for the most part, although there is a chance that the enemy will be able to like fire enough arrows into these things to set them on fire. Why aren't my archers running? They should be running. There. I'll get them to hurry up and get set up so that we can actually get a few barrages before our infantry get up on top of the walls. And I'll get these guys to go just right behind the ramp so that when the ramp reaches, we'll be able to get right into the fight.
Our siege towers have reached the walls. Now
Come on, people,
the butcher's
shoot
red
your
work
arrows.
begins.
Yeah,
The battering ram is in place. Soon the enemy's defenses will fall.
yeah, I don't think this game. Oh wait, no, these people are climbing the thing. Unlike the newer games, I mean, most of the scenery inside here is it's just like an object on the map. It doesn't actually have interiors. So yeah, these buildings you can't actually see inside of them, which sucks. In Empire Total War, I think they even had interiors for the buildings. They actually had
now the butcher's red work.
They actually had what do you call them? Full interiors for the boats actually, which is really cool. Okay, so what do they have here? Some peasant archers from the looks of it. These guys will be just butchered by our dismounted Huskars actually. These guys have a morale.
The gates have fallen.
Those guys actually frighten enemy units, so they should be pretty useful in butchering those peasants. Breach the gate, drop the siege equipment, and these guys are just going to go straight on into the middle of the town. As soon as they kill the great defenders. Some more of these Highland rabble, again one step up from peasants, some more Highland rabble, and some general's bodyguards.
Victory will be ours.
That should be fairly easy. And our troopers here are just going to make a breach inside the walls. They'll slowly but gradually get onto the walls and start butchering the enemies' troops.
The Lord is with us today. We have captured the enemy's walls.
Can't wait until Rome Total War 2 comes out and we can really see these siege tower battles in glorious 3D. Full 3D, not like this pseudo, like really crappy low polygon stuff. Yeah, fireworks. Lots of arrows going on. Anyways, here I guess we should probably defeat all of these Highland rabble. So we'll get our guys to fight them. And these guys are still continuing their little boarding ramp thing. Yeah, the sieges I find are a little buggy in that you get like 4 people fighting on each side here, and the other people don't really want to come up. Oh wait, no, there's a fair amount of people up here. Oh, they managed to rout one of my Viking raider parties down here, which sucks. That's fine. We can get our general to come up here with his rally ability, and hopefully this will be able to rally the troops. So we'll just get them to meet up with these guys. And then we hit this button. And that should increase their chances of not breaking, but it looks like they're still running, so oh well. Anyways, yeah, their peasants on top of the ramparts broke, so now we can get our troops to get off the walls and get into the streets. So hopefully, yeah, these guys will start moving off the platforms here. Gotta say, their gate is holding up surprisingly well for what it's worth. Let's see what these guys are doing. They should be moving down here. I'll give them move orders just so that they can they actually go down there. Okay, now they're moving. That's good. Likewise, these guys and these guys also should dismount from the battlements. That's the word for it.
Only half the enemy force remains.
Just a gong show down there near the gates. We even have some Highlanders coming up to meet our axemen. Yeah, we should be able to break them as soon as we kill their commander, which should be one of these guys. The battle should be essentially over, and I believe the commander is this guy. No. The commander will have specialty armor. Let me see if I can find him. This guy, maybe? I have a feeling it's going to be this guy.
The battle. If we continue like this, we will smash the enemy.
Oh, hey, did our troops rally? Let's see. No, they are like far away from the battlefield, but alright. Okay, so we managed to smash him over there. I'm gonna get some of our infantry to come around the side and flank him from the rear, as always. Near the front here, it looks like, yeah, these guys are actually holding off pretty well. They're dying in large numbers, but these guards are actually doing quite a good job in protecting this gate. I think this is their commander. He's putting up quite a good fight, actually. Let's see if we can get our troops to kill off this guy. The peasant rabble will run off once again. I mean, it's only like the commander here fighting. This guy has a lot of hit points, actually.
Grace of God, our men have slain the enemy general.
There we go.
Without him, his troops will lose their will to fight.
So yeah, as you can tell, I mean, like, infantrymen or just people in general inside this game can take a lot of damage, as opposed to like the newer titles where I think it's always a one-hit kill. It's just simply like a competition on like two people fighting. These guys will come from the rear. They are tired, unfortunately, so I guess they'll march. But I guess these troops are only warmed up. Okay. Okay. Well, we'll get our guys to come over here and smash right through those archers. That should do it. And yeah, now we got a gigantic swarm of people heading this way. Kinda had hope that they won't fight the archers in combat, simply because that really slowed us down. It was supposed to be a charge, but it was like, oh,
Our
okay.
men are winning the battle. If we continue like this, we will smash the enemy.
Okay, well that'll get right on into the enemy. We'll get our guys to start fighting them inside the square, and because from the looks of it we can move to the side here, I'll try to flank them like this, and just enlarge the front of the battlefield by attacking them from there. I'll get these guys to smash from there. I'll get these guys, or whoever is uncommitted, to just kind of come from the flank here. And yeah, that should enlarge the front by quite a little bit, so now the butchering begins.
Winning the battle. If we continue like this, we will smash the enemy.
Yeah, these Highland rabble won't last very long. These Highland troops are, for the most part, I think pretty good for their price, but yeah, they certainly don't compare to our heavy infantry. They're more or less, yeah, they have really good pikemen, so if they're not bringing out the medieval knights with the long pikes, we should be fine. And that should be the end of them. Let's get this squad to actually move over here.
Excellent, Lord. We have lost control of the castle.
There we go. So that
All
should be the last of the
civilized
people.
peoples will be awed by
And
the
there.
victory we have won here today.
4 survivors this time. Not bad, not bad. Okay, so that's kind of that. I think this will actually be the end of the first part because we have been recording for a little bit. Just as soon as we capture the city.
They deserve
Nice
nothing
settlement.
less than death.
Okay, so now we've captured Sky, which is a meh settlement. I think retraining our troops actually refill them to full capacity, so I guess we'll retrain them here. It looks like from the looks of it, this city doesn't actually generate that much cash. We'll see if I'll see how much these sheep are worth for our merchants, which isn't all that much too. Now we're actually getting 3,600 gold this turn, so that should be pretty good. Speaking of which, throw down a few provincial improvements. We're going to get land clearances, which will increase our population growth, and dirt roads, which will increase trade and movement speed. Alright, we were supposed to end the video right here. I'll see you guys next time. Anyways, be sure to like and subscribe for more medieval Total War 2.